Great. I am so excited for tonight's discussion. I've known and worked with the folks at YUWA for quite a while now, and it's just such an incredible organization. So I'm excited to learn more about the organization with you all and to give this space to let them share a little more about the really incredible work that we're doing, that they're doing. Tonight, our discussion is called Youth Voices for Reproductive Health and Rights in Nepal. Our speakers, Sajja Singh and Riju Dakal, are going to go through a presentation about their organization. And then at the end, we'll leave some time to take questions from the audience. So throughout the presentation, feel free to drop your questions in the chat for speakers. But we'd like to ask you to stay on mute while Riju and Sajja are telling you more about their organization, just to avoid any audio interference. And then we'll answer those questions at the end. So feel free to drop those questions in the chat in the duration of the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited to introduce our speakers for this evening. We have Sajja Singh, who is a member and the former vice president at YUWA. Sajja is a youth activist working for young people's sexual and reproductive health and rights in Nepal. She has previously served as vice president at YUWA. She holds a strong advocacy background at the national and regional levels, where she has advocated for young people's sexual reproductive health and rights. Sajja has represented the Young People's Voices at the Asia Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, Asia Pacific Population Conference, and the Nairobi Summit. She's a public health graduate and really passionate about writing. Riju Dakal is the president at YUWA for the 2020 through 2022 term and is currently pursuing her Bachelor of Public Health from the Central Department of Public Health Institute of Medicine. She has been an SRHR activist for the past 2 years and has been involved in national level advocacy processes and evidence generation under YUWA. In her free time, she enjoys traveling and is passionate about poetry. And just to give you a little more information, YUWA is a youth-led organization based in Nepal focused on empowering young individuals to advocate for change in their community. So this talk is going to highlight a little more work. So now I'm going to kick it over to Riju and Sajja to talk a little more about their organization.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay. Hi, everyone. This is Riju, and I'll be doing the first part of the presentation and taking you through YUWA's journey and what YUWA really does and stands for. So YUWA, as its name suggests, is a youth-led organization, and YUWA in English literally translates into youth. So we are an organization that work for young people, and these icons are some of the values that we hold tight to our organization. So it was established in 2009, and it is registered as not-for-profit organization. It is purely youth-run and youth-led because the existing board, the past boards, the staff that we have are all under 29, and we work to empower and strengthen the capacity of young people. And we work to promote youth participation through advocacy and empowerment. And the age group at YUWA, the working age group, is 16 to 29. Our values, YUWA is an organization that holds really strong values for, uplifting and for working itself. It is a youth organization, therefore we highly promote the Y culture, which is also the youth culture, and we call it the Y culture because we would like to establish a safe environment for young people to join in, and a platform that provides opportunity for all young people despite their diversities, despite their engagements in any fields, and we encourage young people in their diversity to come join us, and it is governed, run by the young people of same age, so there's lots of co-sharing, co-learning, and it is a space of co-creation of lots of memories, of lots of learning, sharing resources, and since we've been working on sexual and reproductive health and rights for past 11 years, it has been a very beautiful journey of working together with young people. And not just this, our values our strong aspects of values also are leadership transformation. So which means that in every 2 years, the board transforms and a new set of leadership takes over YUWA's leadership, and it's young people ruling and leading young people's organization at all times. So I've been recently elected as the president after Sajjadi's tenure was handed over to me, and these values of youth culture, of creating a safe space, of respecting each other, of being friendly, and having that family environment here at YUWA, along with leadership transformation, is what it really makes YUWA a unique organization. Our vision, YUWA holds a very strong vision where it envisions young people as the change makers and valued partners in all decision-making levels, and that is what we promote and advocate for. Mission here at YUWA is to make sure that young people participate in all issues, whether that be local, global, local, regional, and we encourage their sustainable engagement and intergenerational participation. We always advocate for greater young people's participation at all levels and tiers of government and advocacy spaces. So objective. The main objective behind establishing this youth organization was to create a momentum of young people to talk about young people's issues and to sum up different other issues prevalent in the society in the lens of young people. So it provides a common platform for the young people, youth, and their discourses and innovation. It also facilitates meaningful and inclusive youth participation in decision-making. It promotes Y culture, which symbolizes that young people's energy, young people's needs, and young people as agents can bring forth social changes, can be the community level mediums through which we can accept changes, and to recognize and enhance intergenerational participation at large. And this particular objective is more concerned with our partnerships, youth adult partnerships, with other partnerships, with our adolescents, children, and all different kinds of partnerships that young people can hold, because we dearly understand that young people at the forefront can actually work for betterment of the society and community. And we realize the importance that with Nepal having a large youth population, it is important that young people are brought at forefront and they're made the medium of changes. Our thematic areas, so YUWA is currently working under 3 thematic areas, and these thematic areas are the priority areas that YUWA works with regards to its in-house programs or with regards to its different projects that we receive funding for. And the names are active citizenship, sexual and reproductive health and rights, and the research unit. We will get to know more about this in the following slides. Active citizenship, the name itself suggests that we promote young people to become active citizens of the country, to become the change makers of the community. And our different programs are oriented towards making people more responsible, taking ownership, and working for communities. So our programs are in line with the following aspects, that is youth leadership, with migration, with youth civic sense, and life skill-based training. So under youth leadership, we usually conduct 2 or 3 day workshops which are called Prarambha Pahichan, and these workshops are designed in such a way that we promote communication, we promote leadership skills, we promote teamwork, and we provide young individuals with an opportunity to look forth, to look around themselves for the problems and to come up with solutions based on the realistic resources that they hold at the moment. Migration, this is something that that YUWA has recently started working on. And currently we're based in Province 7 with migration. And this was because COVID-19 had caused immense effects on different parts of the economy, and migration was such an badly hit area that there were lots of number of workers who had migrated to Nepal, and they did not have a sustainable plan for themselves. And YUWA has recently started working under migration, where we collect case stories of young people, women who've or gender minorities and other ethnic diverse background people, and we collect their case stories, bring forth, we advocate with local governments to actually help them move ahead and help them sustain their lives in better ways in their own homelands. And we also provide necessary legal and financial supports whenever necessary to these young people who would like to do something for migrant workers, or young people who have migrated and would not like to go back to some foreign land. Next is youth civic sense. Under this project, under this aspect, we actually work around creating civic sense. We work around creating media literacy and talking and discussing about issues that are quite prevalent in the country and that are important for young people to discuss. And under this, we have a discussion series, which is Yuwa Ko Jigyasa, which literally translates into young people's curiosities. So under that, we discuss different aspects of civic sense. We also have videos, and we also have webinars and training sessions on different aspects of civic sense as well. Next is life skill based training, and this is because we want to capacitate young people with all the necessary skills that might be not very vigilant on a wider perspective, but very necessary for a longer life run. It could be simple resume writing, it could be anything related to presentation skills or anything like that. So these are some programs under youth leadership skills as well, which is Prarambha, that means initiation, and we encourage young people to initiate solutions for their community problems. Then this is Pahichan, which means that it's identity basically, and this is usually conducted in the rural parts of Nepal. And it also means that young people need to identify their resources around them, their problems, their issues around them, and work for that. The upcoming slides, I would like to hand it over to Sajja for presentation, and I'll get back to you all again with my presentation later. So over to you, Sajja. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Riju. So I'll be taking forward with the slides on sexual and reproductive health and rights, and I also request Riju to change the slide as we go forward. So yeah, another thematic area of YUWA is sexual and reproductive health and rights, and it is also one of the very important thematic area that YUWA works on. And this is because I think with the time, I think YUWA has also expanded this very thematic area. Could you change the slide? Yeah. So under this thematic area, we work particularly on the three main areas, but we also have one council which is very core to this thematic area. So first one is comprehensive sexuality education. YUWA over the time has understood that in order to equip young people with the needed information about their sexual and reproductive health and their rights, it's very important for them to provide education which enables them to make their life decisions. And so we have started to work on comprehensive sexuality education, where we provide where we started off providing peer education sessions to students and young people, basically school students, where young people of their own age go to their schools and classes and teach them about their, their rights, their bodies, so that we can reduce the gap, the existing gap between the education that is provided in school and what they actually want to learn, because there are so many queries. And these sessions are quite interesting because we get to know that young people actually want to learn about their bodies, want to know what is happening to them, and there is such a big gap in what they actually know, and so we try to bridge this gap. And as we all know that we still struggle with lack of information in the education system in Nepal, because a lot of teachers are still hesitant of teaching sexuality and comprehensive sexuality education, because we still have a strong taboo regarding sexuality. We cannot talk openly about sex or sexuality. So we try to bridge that gap, and we not only do the peer education session, but we also do advocacy. We have a strong advocacy hold in this area. We actually work at national level. We are actively part of the national policy discussions, where we are trying to shift the discussion and trying to incorporate comprehensive sexuality education in in-school curriculum. We're trying to create out-of-schools CSE curricula for young people, because there are a lot of young people who are out of school, who are dropping out of school, and they actually require CSE for making their lives better. And also we have already drafted a CSE monitoring framework, which has been already handed over to government, so that they can actually monitor what kind of CSE is being taught by teachers. So these are the things that is happening under this area, CSE, comprehensive sexuality education. Second one is safe abortion. As part of the SRHR thematic area, we are also actively working under safe abortion. And under this area, we also have multiple projects. For example, like the Right Here Right Now project, which was a 5-year long project, which focused on safe abortion, marriage equality, and CSE. And so this kind of projects also help to push forward the agenda that we are taking forward from YUWA. So we were also part of this program. And also with safe abortion, we also have another project that is funded by Parenthood. And we are trying to increase young people's access to safe abortion. So basically with safe abortion, we understand that it is another very sensitive topic, and we realize that for young people especially, it's very hard to access any sort of safe abortion service because the premarital sexual relationship is a taboo. But young people, and another thing is that is a taboo, but they also, young people also lack information, and they also have very hard time accessing contraceptive devices, which puts them in a big risk of having unwanted pregnancy, therefore leading to abortion. And when they reach to safe abortion sites, they are questioned a lot. They are denied of the services, so they try to take unsafe measures. So with safe abortion, we try to enable these young people to have a safe environment where they can access the safe abortion services, which is provided freely from the government side. So that is what we try to do in safe abortion. SOGI, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, is a very new area that we started working on. We have realized in Nepal that the conversations around SOGI has been really, really positive. I think people are taking up on this topic really positively, especially young people, and there has been a surge in conversation, and it's very organic flow of conversation, because it did not start off from like any incident. It started off organically because people are more interested to learn about their orientation, their sexuality. So we try to make it more visible by making it an area, because young people really want to know about it. So that is why we are, making programs, delivering programs and orientations, so that young people can learn about the terms, they can know about their sexuality more, so that they can learn and respect others as well, about their choices. So that's what we talk about in Sochi. So another one is Youth Activist Leadership Council. This is actually a very core program of the thematic area. Rather than being a area, it's a program. So I actually was part of this council, and Riju actually was part of this council. So this is a very unique platform for young people, where 10 young people from all around the country are selected, and they are provided with the trainings on sexual and reproductive health and rights, so that they can actually work for other young people's sexual and reproductive health and rights, so that they can work as an activist and work on their individual level and organizational level to reach out to more young people. So that is the 4 areas. So we can move on to another slide. So we have few of the glimpses of programs that we do under this thematic area. So we have this Reaching Out Young Minds, which is a session, or we would call it a 1 or 2 day workshop kind of session, where we really reach out to young people and discuss and provide them information, engage them on various topics. It could be safe abortion or CSC or any other things that that they require to know. So that's that's what we do. Basically, it's a 1 day, very brief orientation kind of session, but we can also extend it to more days as according to the needs. So that's Reaching Out Young Minds. Kulakash. This Kulakash, in English, it means open sky. So though the picture shows that we are inside a room, but what we ideally prefer is to sit outside under the open sky and talk about topics that are very difficult to share out open. Like it could be contraceptives or any other things that is very, very difficult for us to talk out in open. So with Kulakash, we try to break that barrier. We come to an open sky, under the open sky, and discuss about these taboo topics and share our perspectives and discuss how can we move forward and move ahead to make it better and to break this taboo. So that's it's basically a discussion program. So we also do various workshops and programs. Apart from these, we also do these 2 are very core programs, structured program. But apart from these, we also have various programs which we do in collaboration with other youth-led organizations and other stakeholders as per the need. This very picture is one that we did in during our pandemic situation, where we were not allowed to move outside. So we used the virtual space where we were providing workshop on the menstruation hygiene and also about, because I remember we gave one session on menstrual cups. We wanted, and in collaboration with another organization, because we wanted to also connect menstrual hygiene with the sustainability, and because young people had a lot of curiosity about how to use menstrual cups and is it safe or not, that kind of query. So we wanted to make sure that young people have right information. So we did this kind of workshops as well. Yeah. So this is a picture of Youth Activist Leadership Council. These are the current Youth Activist Leadership Council members. And another one is research unit. Over the time at YUWA, what we realize is that research is somewhere YUWA really needs to invest on, because that area, when we invest in researchers, I think that's when it really it actually supports other thematic areas to move ahead as well. And also, I think because we work with young people, I think the data generated by us would be quite, important to create certain impact at the level that we work on. So at Research Unit, we have two programs, that is Center for Youth Studies and Center for Gender and Sexuality Studies. So these are the two studies which are a week-long program where we bring in young people, where we discuss about sexuality, about the youth issues, where they're oriented about basic concept of research and data collection. And they are at the end, they are also provided with the space to do their own research. And they're allowed to create certain paper, which is also published by YUWA. So that's the two studies that we conduct under Research Unit. Also, currently we're also doing research on gender-based violence, where our key respondents are women serving in parliament. So we are trying to get their experiences, and it's a qualitative research where we're trying to get their say or their experiences regarding gender-based violence, which they experience in all spheres of life. So that's undergoing. So moving forward, we would like to share a bit about our team, what kind of structure we hold at YUWA. So we have general members who hold the highest power or position, and currently we have 38 members at YUWA. And then we have executives. We generally have 9 executive members, executive board members, and we have staff who are very core to YUWA, because they are the ones who really work and implement the ideas we generate. And then we have volunteers and who support in our programs and activities. And also we take interns. These interns are basically the college interns or university interns who come for placements in our organization. And finally, we have alumni and co-founders. Once we graduate, once we pass the age of 29, we become alumni, because we no longer serve as a member, so we become an alumni. And as we become alumni, our relationship is also equally strong, because we always make sure that we are connected with YUWA, and we make sure that we provide assistance or support in any way possible, because we are actually very attached to YUWA and the work YUWA does. So that's part of the team. So I think that is it. And I think I'll hand over the presentation to Riju for more.
Thank you, Sajja. So we've kept a slide on Know Your Speakers, where we'll be talking about our personal journeys in YUWA and how is it being a part of YUWA in total. Maybe I'll stop sharing my slide because it feels like I'm speaking to myself a lot. So yeah. YUWA holds a very different place for me and is a very special part of my life as well, because I was in bachelor's when I first joined YUWA as a Youth Activist Leadership Council. And then turning back to that journey, it was a journey of friendship, fun, learning about SRHR, and it was all just about learning and growing back then. Then when I joined in YUWA as the general member, it was more of a mentorship journey where, my previous board members, that is Sajja and the team, had mentored us throughout not only with aspects of SRHR related issues, but more about how management works, how things work at YUWA, or what young people actually need, and why is it important to stay real to young people and things like that. And we, as a member, it was more about development of personality, development of who I am today. And with a year's time span of being a member under the leadership and mentorship of such wonderful team, I felt like I could do anything now. And then I just signed up for this position of leadership as the president. And I'm just 22 now, and I'm still not sure I'll be fully able to share the experience that I'm experiencing right now, but it is surreal. And I call this surreal in many aspects, not just because it is the first female leadership that YUWA has seen in terms of presidency, but also about the expectations the female leadership brings with itself. And it is the most amazing experience in my life, which is not always rosy and glory, obviously. And I've learned a new thing every day when I've been in this position. And it is not just about personality, SRHR, or different other things, but more about how different societies, different communities have lived their life. And it's more about learning more and reflecting more on myself with a team that is so eager to work at. And it is an amazing experience. And I've had spaces to reach out for help throughout this journey. I've had the spaces to reach out for guidance, and I'm glad that I took this position because it has shaped me into who I am today and into what I've become. It is not just I'm not just no longer that person who talks about SRHR anymore, but I've been more confident, and I've been a person who has started, showing things up more in a manner, that in a confident manner. And I've actually started realizing what it takes to come to leadership positions at Toto. And there are definitely times when I don't like being the leader and holding an executive position, because there are times when you have to make decisions, you have to take actions right away. And but these several instances, all the different journeys around me, the team that I'm working with, my this team of staff, the team of general members, the team of executives, the guidance from the past board, the alumni, co-founders, and other members, it has helped me grow out of my space, and in such extent that I'm more myself than ever before. And obviously the more confident one. And it is really good to feel the way I've felt over the past 6 months, because it's been a challenging journey, and I've always signed up for challenges. And this has been by far the most interesting journey that I've taken in my life. Leading a youth organization as famous and popular and as one doing such great works like YUWA is a challenge that I've accepted. And with the tenure, I'm still to go for 1.5 year long down my tenure, and I'm expecting more challenges on my way. But with that, I'm also seeing a journey that's unfolding, and that is going to be a beautiful journey of discovering myself, reflecting upon myself, to talking more about SRHR, advocating about SRHR at all spaces, and actually seeing young people talk about different youth issues, and to see how YUWA unfolds its visions for the next years as well. Adding to my journey, I think it will be really cool to hear what Sajja has on her end as well. And then maybe we can talk about some future visions that YUWA sees or envisages and would like to take over in years to come. So over to you, Sajja, again.
Yeah, thanks, Rizu. I think everyone who is engaged with YUWA has similar stories like Rizu shared. I think for me, YUWA I think YUWA really holds a very strong place, because I think it really provides, in actual sense, it provides space for young people to actually participate meaningfully. I mean, when we talk about meaningful youth participation, it's not only in the pages, it's not only in the words, it's actually in implementation and actually in a real sense when we are at YUWA, because we are working there, we are taking decisions for not only for us, but also for the organization. So we are actually doing what we say or what we ask for. So that's the beauty of YUWA, because we are young people, we are learning as well, but we are also taking this decision for the organization. And when we as young people are there in YUWA, I think the values come in so strong, because when we take decisions or when we work in YUWA, I think we not only take decisions for the current board or for current existing situation, but also we think for like upcoming young people who will be engaged in YUWA. So we make sure that our decisions support them, our decision enable their, provides, creates a greater space for the young people coming up, because I think that's the aim, because we not only want to work or occupy or take space for ourselves, but also create more space for the upcoming young people, so that it's easier or it's less difficult for them to voice their thoughts or opinions. So that's that applies for the work we do, the relations we build with donors and funders and governments and stakeholders. So and as Rizu shared, I think as a young person, it's very difficult for a difficult space to be in, because we have our studies and we have our we have our personal life as well, but we also are in leadership position, so we have to strike a very balance, so that we are very focused on studies as well, but we are also taking YUWA and young people's right in a direction that is creating an impact as well. So so I think doing that sort of multitasking job, it really pushes us as an individuals to be the best we can. And also I think YUWA is such an amazing place, because as a young people we have a very limited experience. We come as very kind of raw, I would say, but I think YUWA realizes that and provides a space where we can actually make mistakes and not get scolded, or not get so it actually provides a space where we can actually learn from our mistakes and move ahead better. I think for me it has been a wonderful experience, from being a member to being a board member, and now coming back to a member's position. It has been a whole circle for me, and I think at every phases of life, I think I've learned more about YUWA and also young people, and also how to actually be empathetic and critical about myself as well as the work we do. So yeah, I think that's my experience with YUWA, and I hope yeah, it makes sense to everyone listening. But yeah, for the vision, I would like to request Rizu to share a few things. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sajadi. And we can both relate to each other's story so much. Before taking into the vision, further plans for YUWA, I'd also like to talk a little bit about our COVID experience, because that's something that we've lived with this year, and we're not going to leave it any soon, it seems like. So during the COVID, the times were difficult, and it was not just difficult on the implementation part, but as management as well. And we've experienced and we've tried out new ways of reaching out to young people and supporting them in SRHR and different other issues that they have. And we tried a new modality of working in the office, which was work from home, and which we've continued until now. And we're actually enjoying it because it's much better to work in pajamas always. So yeah, that's there. And there's also lots of programs and discussions that we've taken it online, and online platforms are amazing because you reach out to so many people at so many different geographic locations. And people, we reach out to young people in not just from Kathmandu now, and we can reach out to all young people living all around Nepal, and we can even have support from international platforms, and we can meet all kinds of young people and different people from all different reasons. So online platforms have been a great boon, and not just for YUWA and for everywhere around here in the world. And we've started working more on webinars, on online trainings, on online discussions. We've had lots of digital advocacy resources produced during the time of COVID. Like we had partnered with one of the most famous YouTubers here in Nepal, and we had this youth acts and youth speak sessions where we talked about different issues related to SRHR, COVID, and we also had different digital comic strips produced and different videos that were produced which discussed about different ongoing issues of SRHR. And it was really an amazing experience working online. And as much as we enjoy the physical space, as much as we enjoy the physical presence of all people around us, this was a challenging yet journey that YUWA took into. And we're actually proud of where we've been with in terms of digital spaces as well. And we hope in years to come, in days to come, we actually can explore more of the digital spaces. Our future plans for YUWA holds a very unstructured form, but we know what we want, and that is more young people joining us, more young people from all around Nepal. We've had provincial partners. We want to reach more young people all over Nepal in different reasons, and we want more discussions on SRHR, on youth, young people's issues. We also want to strengthen the research unit that we have, because we understand and we realize that young people need resources, young people need the support in all accurate forms and in an informative way so that they can make their informed decisions. So we are hoping that in days to come and years to come, we expand and explore our research unit more. In addition to that, we also plan on working more in aspects of comprehensive sexuality education for out of school, for other key actors around education, which are not just school children, but out of school children, teachers, parents, other different religious and other stakeholders that can be involved in the process of advocacy, and talk more about comprehensive sexuality education in a manner that the gaps and inadequacies are actually realized and brought into action form. And in days to come, we also wish to work more with local governments, because Nepal has been into federal system, and we wish to explore more of the opportunities at local levels now, and to talk about sexual and reproductive health and rights at more local levels. So that's it about YUWA, and I can see lots of questions coming in. I'm not sure if I'm
no, I'll ask you the questions. I've been keeping track. Thank you so much. I think that provided such a beautiful picture of what YUWA does and how you all work with young people. And I think I firmly believe that young people are this untapped potential and continue to be, that holds so much power and so much potential. So it's great to just hear all about the work that you're doing to activate those people in Nepal. We have a lot of questions and only 10 minutes left, so I'm going to combine a couple questions into one, and if folks have any follow-ups, feel free to drop that in the chat. But I'm just seeing a lot of questions generally about what kind of barriers you face in your work as you're talking about SRHR? Do you receive like pushback from different religious groups? Are there any like cultural barriers that you all have had to like overcome in your work?
Yeah, so as already shared, like we do have the cultural context where we are not allowed, especially young people are not allowed to talk about their sexuality or their engage in any sort of sexual activity, because that's a taboo topic. We don't talk, even we have started to grow a bit more, because initially we were not even, people used to get hesitant to talk about menstrual hygiene and menstruation. So that is sort of context what we live in, and so it's very difficult for young people to actually speak about their bodies, about sexual life, any sort of thing. So it's very difficult for them to even access contraceptives and services. So that's the context. But I think it's improving with time. But this is still existent. So when we work for young people, sexual and reproductive health and rights, it's the cultural context really shapes our work, because it's very difficult for us to because comparatively it's easier to work with young people and share the information, because they actually require such information and they actually want to learn more about it. But when we talk with different other stakeholders who are not young people, I think then the barrier comes in, because it's very difficult for us to make them understand, or for them to, because these stakeholders, they already have this preset notion about the sexuality, so they don't want to change the fact. So they are very resistant about it. So it is a bit difficult for us to work in that sort of context. But I think how we work is that we also have other CSOs who are working with us, who are youth adult led, who are working for sexual and reproductive health rights of young people. So we collaborate with them so that we have this strong team. And when actually an adult talks to an adult, they listen more than a young people talking to an adult. So that's basically how we work. And regarding the religious pressure or religious leader or leadership religious groups, I think in context of Nepal, we don't have that strong religious force which puts a barrier for sexual and reproductive health and rights of young people, but it's very contextual, because there are some places in Nepal where they hold a very strong position and where they do have a religious influence. But if we talk about a general influence, there is not much of a influence, not a strong influence, but it's very contextual, because if we go in some parts of the lower belt of Nepal, then there is a very larger group of Muslim majority where it does create an impact on accessing the information. If we go in very far west, there is a very strong hold of religious leaders, and they have to even follow different types of practices during menstruation periods. So these are sort of contextual aspects, but if we talk in general, there is very limited role of religious leaders. Yes.
Great, thank you so much. Riju, do you have anything to add, or did Sajja get it?
I think Sajja got it all.
Great. This is a question that really pertains a lot to some of our advocacy goals at Population Connection. This is a question from Michelle. Are women expecting, or groups like you expecting, on getting more financial support from the United States for reproductive health care now that the Trump administration and the global gag rule we've kicked him out of office?
Yeah. So regarding that, we really faced a lot of challenge during our tenure, especially because we were under global gag rule. because we were working with sexual SRHR and safe abortion, it is our core values that we work for. So we could not work for other USAID funded projects, because as young youth organization, a lot of proposals were coming in for us to work with USAID, but as we work for safe abortion, we could not collaborate with them, and we stick to that. But now I think it's easier for us as a youth-led organization working for young people's SRHR to collaborate more and actually get US funding, which could be not only for SRHR but also other works like leadership. So I think it has opened up the doors not only for youth-led organizations like us, but also for other organizations who are actually working for SRHR, because we got a lot of information during Global Gap grew that a lot of safe abortion sites were being closed because they lacked funding and stuff. So now I think it's very it's more easier for us, I think, to actually get funding and collaborate more.
Great. And then I'm seeing a couple questions just about what the differences are in access to reproductive health care for people living in a larger city, like where YUWA is based, versus more rural areas of Nepal, and what that kind of access looks like. And then maybe as well, if you could touch on what kind of contraceptive methods are most popular among Nepali folks and young people.
Maybe I can take over this question. So about the reproductive health services in rural and in urban areas of Nepal, there is a good amount of difference in the accessibility that people choose for reproductive health services. But when it comes down to different other aspects of information, knowledge, and sexual and reproductive rights that come along with these services, I think the situation is that young people in the urban areas have more access to information, have more access to digital platforms, and have more access to a general scenario where people talk about these things more. And in rural settings, it's the discussions are gradually growing, but we're definitely experiencing a situation where the discussions are less, the information sources are less, the resources are less, and the services are in terms of traditional approaches provided by health workers mostly, and some organizations that are already working in it. So there's definitely, I'm sorry, am I audible?
Yes, yeah. You are. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so in terms of access of different reproductive health services in rural and urban areas, there exists a difference, and this is a systemic difference which steps in from all the different barriers that come along, like the rural people already have a little minimum access to more advanced information and technology services. So that's obviously there. And about the most used contraceptives here in Nepal, the most used contraceptives are obviously the temporary ones here in Nepal, and which includes pills, steroid contraceptives, and it also includes condoms, and females are more into permanent methods of contraceptives here in Nepal.
Thank you, that's so helpful. We have just a minute left, and I'm going to leave it on one question, another question from Michelle that I think really just helps wrap up our discussion. So what can we do to create kind of a radical cultural shift to make sexual and reproductive health and rights more commonly discussed and more accessible for people in Nepal and around the world? And then maybe what can we, as mostly folks who live in the United States, do to help support that work that you all are doing?
Yeah, I think what what we feel is that, I think what I personally feel is that, and what I realize is that the more we talk, the more we discuss, I think it really creates an impact. The more programs we do, the more collaboration we do, the more focus is on SRHR. I think it really steers the conversation. It really drives the conversation, and it really actually helps creating the space where we can actually talk more and build more on the work we do. So I think that's the very first step, that is to discuss, to work, to do programs on SRHR, to reach out to more young people, so more discussions takes place, so that more they have that power to actually say what they feel, and to ask for their rights, because it's their rights to talk about their sexual health, about their reproductive health, to ask for their sexual and reproductive health and rights. So that's their right. So when we are able to make them realize that it's their basic right, I think they get empowered. And I think when we do programs and collaborate, I think that provides spaces for more people to join in, and work together. So that's the very first step. And I think it's a very crucial step, because I think there are a lot of people who realize that it's very important but not voicing out. So I think that's the major way to create a slow, but I wouldn't say it's a radical, but it's a very slow process. But I think it's a very necessary step. And if we build upon that, along with the advocacy work we are doing, I think that should be really moved ahead with a very powerful force. I think if we do that, then definitely I think it will create we will be definitely seeing change in a very short period of time. And I think with population connection and other stakeholders from around the world, I think because we're working on same issue, I think collaboration is definitely what we seek, because we as a young people and youth-led organization, we always require resources in terms of information, capacity. So I think, and also support to voice, support on the issues that we are working on. So I think that's what would definitely help. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you both so much for joining us. We'll stick around and answer any questions that folks have for a few minutes after the call, but would like to invite you all to join me in giving Sajja and Riju a huge thank you. Drop your thanks in the chat. I've also linked to the organization in the chat if you'd like to learn a little more about their work. Thanks, everyone.